Hello guys and girls, and welcome to today's video. As you can see here on the screen, the topic that we're going to be talking about today is introduction paragraphs. There's another word that's on the screen right now that is very important, and that is the word review. And the reason that that is important is because we have already talked about introduction paragraphs quite a bit this year. Before we got into our informational writing unit, which is what we're working on right now, we spent quite a long time focusing specifically on on-demand writing. And when we were in our on-demand writing unit, one of the things that I shared with you all is that we spend quite a bit of time as eighth graders focusing on on-demand writing because that is one of the areas that you're going to be tested on your KSA state testing at the end of the year. I also told you guys that throughout the year we would be writing quite a few on demands, and we have another one coming up here in a few weeks. And so on Fridays for the next few weeks, we are reviewing some different parts of the on demand essay just to keep it fresh in your mind and make sure that you are prepared to be successful when we write our next on demand. So without further ado, let's jump in here and get started. I want to take a second and quickly review what an introduction paragraph is. Remember, the introduction is the first paragraph of your on-demand essay, and it includes three elements. It starts with a hook, then you move on to your background information, and then it ends with a thesis statement. Earlier this year, when we were talking about introduction paragraphs, I told you that if the introduction paragraph were a shape, the shape would be an upside down triangle. As you can see, this first part of the shape is a long line, and that is because when we start our introduction paragraphs, we start off really broad with our hook, and then as the lines of our triangle start to come together, we're starting to get more specific with our background information, and then we end our introduction with our thesis statement. So quickly, we are going to review what each part of the introduction paragraph is, starting with the hook. The hook is the very first thing that you are going to write when you are asked to write an on-demand essay. The purpose of the hook, just like if you are going fishing and you are trying to catch a fish, you have to have a hook to catch that fish. When you are writing an on-demand essay, you use a hook to catch your reader's attention. There are three different types of hooks that you might choose to use when you are writing. The first type of hook is a question. The second type of hook is an interesting fact. And then the third type is an anecdote. Now, you're going to notice as we're going through this today that for each part of the paragraph, I'm going to give you some suggestions of some sentence starters. And you might want to just pay close attention to those because at the end of this video, or when you get done watching this video, you are going to be writing an introduction paragraph yourself. So it's going to be good to keep these sentence starters kind of in the back of your mind so that when you do have to write your introduction paragraph here in just a few minutes, you have some ideas of how you might do that. So let's talk about the question hook first. This is my personal favorite type of hook just because I think it's the easiest. All you have to do is start with a question, and it needs to be a question that's related to the topic that you are writing about, and it's just going to get your audience thinking about the topic that you're going to be discussing. So a great way to start with a question hook is, do you think, and then you fill in the blank. The next type of hook would be an interesting fact. I want you to remember that facts have to be based off of evidence. Facts cannot be something that you just make up or pull out of thin air. They have to come from a reliable source. So if you have a passage that goes along with your writing prompt, it might be a good idea if you're reading through the passage and something like really stands out to you or you find something really interesting to use that as your hook. And if you were going to use an interesting fact, it might sound something like this. Did you know? And then you fill in the blank with whatever your interesting fact is. And again, that has to come from a reliable source. The third and final type of hook is an anecdote. Anecdote is a fancy word for a short story. These can be a little bit tricky because when you are writing an anecdote style hook, it has to be very short, like 2 or 3 sentences at the most, and it can be hard for some people to come up with something that they can fully explain as a story with just a few sentences. But if you were to try that type of hook, it might look something like this. Imagine this, and then you tell some type of story that relates in some way to what you're going to be writing about. After you write your hook, you move on to the background information. So the background information is the middle portion of the introduction paragraph, and it should be somewhere in the ballpark of 3 to 5 sentences. The purpose of the background information is to let your audience know what you are going to be writing about in the rest of the essay. And there are 3 questions that you should answer in that background information section. First, what is the debate? In other words, what are people arguing about? Second, what do those in favor argue? So the people who are for this debate or agree with this debate, why do they agree? And then last, what do those against argue? So people who are opposed, why are they opposed to that topic? Again, I have provided some sentence starters here for you. You might want to just tuck these away in your memory so that when you write your paragraph here in a moment, they'll be helpful to you. You can think about them. For the first question, what is the debate? You might say something like, recently there has been a debate about blank, and then you fill in the blank with whatever the topic of your essay is. What do those in favor argue? You might say something like, those in favor of blank, insert the topic, argue blank. So people who are for that topic, people who agree with that topic, give one reason why they might agree. And then the final question, what do those against argue? It might look something like this. However, those opposed feel blank. And remember, opposed just means against. So people who are not in favor give one reason why they feel that way. Now, on this slide, I do want to point out the photo. As you can see here, there is a lady in the middle, and it looks like there's a person on either side kind of arguing back and forth, but she's sort of just in the middle minding her own business. I chose this very specifically for the background information slide because I want you to remember that when you are giving the background information, you are not telling your opinion, okay? You are just stating what's the debate, what do those in favor argue? What do those against argue? But you are not giving your opinion. You are just like sitting back and watching. That takes us to the final part of the introduction paragraph, which is the thesis statement. The thesis is the last sentence of the introduction paragraph. It's really the most important part of your entire essay. And again, I very intentionally chose this little video, this little picture, because I want you to remember that your thesis statement is the foundation of your entire essay. So if you have a really strong thesis, you're going to have a really strong paper. Think about a house. If a house has a good, solid foundation, that house is going to be strong. But if that house has a weak foundation, or if there's a crack in the foundation, eventually that house is going to crumble. Same thing with your thesis. If you have a strong thesis, you're going to have a strong essay. If you have a weak thesis, you're going to have a weak essay. So a couple of reminders about the thesis statement. Again, it's the last sentence of the introduction paragraph. It contains your claim and 2 main points. The number 2 is important with thesis statements. So this is where you do actually get to insert your opinion. Remember, we said with the background information, you're not telling your opinion, and the thesis is when you actually do state what your opinion of the topic is. And even though you're giving your opinion, you should not have personal pronouns in your thesis statement, meaning you do not say, I think. You do not say, in my opinion. You do not say, I believe, because I, me, my, those are personal pronouns, and when we are writing, we want to avoid using those. Also, just a reminder, whatever the question is that's being asked, you are going to restate that question without saying, I think, I feel, I believe, and then you're going to give 2 reasons to support your claim. Now, on Google Classroom, you are going to find the passage that goes along with your prompt, and we're going to talk about the prompt here in just a second. But before we look at the prompt, I want to read this passage together. Again, this is also posted on Google Classroom, so if you need to refer back to it when it is time for you to write your introduction paragraph, feel free to do that. This article is called 16 and 17-year-olds Deserve the Right to Vote. In the 1960s, the United States was at war in Vietnam. The country asked itself a question. If 18-year-old men can die in Vietnam, shouldn't they be allowed to vote? Today, we must ask ourselves about 16 and 17-year-olds. They contribute to society through work. Some face police, courts, and jails as adults. Shouldn't they have the right to vote? In the teen years, many begin to work. That means they pay taxes. They start driving cars. On the flip side, about 250,000 teens each year go through the court system as adults. All these teens should be able to vote. In some states, 16 and 17-year-olds can pre-register. This means they can register before their 18th birthday. 14 states allow teens to pre-register at 16, and 9 states allow it for 17-year-olds. Anya Presley represents Massachusetts in Congress. She wanted to lower the voting age to 16. Her proposed law failed. It only got 126 votes. Voting is a habit. Let people start voting at a younger age. These 16 and 17-year-olds could go to the polls with their parents or other adults. It could begin a lifetime of voting. Lowering the voting age is a worthy goal. Let's do it. David D. La Fuente works for Third Way, a research center. The opinions expressed in this text are those of the author and do not necessarily represent the views of News ELA. Other opinions. What do others say about giving teens the right to vote? Here are 3 other views. Teens don't know enough to vote. Teens are too emotional. Car rental agencies are right to make it hard for young drivers to rent a car. You have to be 25 to serve in Congress. Teens still have a lot to learn. They cannot be trusted to make decisions about the United States. Teens don't make bad choices any more than adults do. By 16, teens can make good decisions. They can gather information. They can weigh the pros and cons. They can look at the facts. They know to take time before reaching a decision. These are good skills for voting. Teenagers sometimes make bad choices. However, they do not make them any more often than adults do. Establishes patterns for a lifetime. Voting for the first time at 16 is a good idea. This could help set up a lifetime habit of voting. One objection is that teens will just vote like their parents. Studies show that people are always influenced by those around them. Teens might vote like their parents, but adults often vote like their spouses or neighbors. So you are going to use that passage to write an introduction paragraph for the following prompt. I'm going to start with writing situation. Congress is considering a bill that would lower the voting age in America from 18 years old to 16 years old. Those in favor of this bill argue that voting at an early age will establish a lifetime habit of voting, while those against believe teenagers are too emotional and can't be trusted to make decisions about our country. Your Kentucky representatives would like to know your opinion on this topic. Should the voting age be lowered to 16? Write an essay in which you state your opinion on this topic. Use evidence from the text to support your ideas. Your assignment today is to write an introduction paragraph, so that means hook, background, and thesis statement based on this prompt. Remember, for the hook, you might start with a question, you might start with a surprising fact from the article, or you might start with an anecdote. If you choose the question, which would be my suggestion, I would encourage you to use the sentence starter that I gave you, which was, do you think, and then insert the topic of this passage, which is that the voting age should or should not be lowered. Then you're going to move on to the background information. Remember, for the background information, you are answering the 3 questions. What is the debate? What do those in favor argue? And what do those against argue? And you can get those from the prompt, as you can see here on the screen. And then last but not least, write your thesis statement. You are going to restate the question being asked, which is, should the voting age be lowered to 16? And then give me 2 reasons why you think it should or why you think it should not. And when you are done, please turn your paragraph into the podium at the front of the room.